कर्पूरगौरं करुणावतारं संसारसारं भुजगेन्द्रहारं सदा वसन्तं हृदयारविन्दे भवं भवानी सहितं नमामि.
The moment we are born as human beings, somehow our lives got complicated. If we had come here as any other creature on this planet, life would be very simple. Eating, sleeping, reproducing and dying one day. Now we have to do all those things, but after doing all those things we find somehow it's not enough. Somehow where you are right now, wherever you may be, is not enough. You want to be little more than what you're right now, isn't it? Isn't it so? If you know only money, maybe you're thinking of little more money. If you know only pleasure, maybe little more pleasure, power, little more power. Whatever it may be, whatever your currency may be, but everybody is wanting to be little more than what they're right now. The process of desiring is continuously going on. So this longing of well-being, because ultimately everything that you're doing is in search of your well-being. Whether you're going to work, or you're going to the bar, or you're going to the temple, or you're getting married, or you're having children, you're studying in a university, everything is fundamentally your well-being, isn't it so? Yes? Different people may have different ideas about well-being. Somebody thinks if they can eat twice a day, that's well-being. But somebody else, that's not well-being, isn't it? Our ideas of well-being may be different, but every human being, consciously or unconsciously, constantly in search of his well-being, isn't it? So, what is well-being? When do you really feel well in your life? When do you truly feel well? When you're very happy, you're well. Even if you're physically ill, you're still well, isn't it? Even if you're medically diagnosed as ill, you're very happy right now, you're feeling well, isn't it? So fundamentally, well-being means a certain level of joyfulness, certain exuberance of life. What is happiness? We can say happiness is this, that, but in terms of life, your life energies are happening in a more exuberant way than it normally happens. Depression means your life energies have become very low and state. Happiness means your life energies are exuberant. There are many ways of describing happiness, but only those who are happy know what it means to be happy. There is nobody who has not been happy, everybody's been happy, but the problem is they're not able to maintain it, that's all, isn't it? Everybody's been happy. In the last 24 hours, how many moments of joy have you known? 1, 2, 3, how many? Maybe you can count on your fingers, many people have nothing to count. When you were 5 years of age, a child, how many moments of joy did you know in 24 hours? Lots of them, isn't it? Somebody had to make you unhappy. Now somebody has to make you happy, isn't it? The whole equation has gotten reversed somehow. All this effort of life, everything that you did, education, career, business, family, whatever you did, everything was in pursuit of happiness, is it so? Everything that humanity has done on this planet is in pursuit of happiness, is it so? In the last 100 years, we have done too much on this planet. With the use of science and technology, we have changed the very face of this planet. Today, we have the kind of comforts and conveniences that no other generation could ever even imagine. Yes? What royalty could not afford 100 years ago, today average citizens have, isn't it so? Aren't most of you driving chariots with 100, 200 horses? Yes? Even kings could not afford this. But are we any happier? We are definitely the most comfortable generation ever on this planet. Is it so, physically? But are we also the most joyful generation? So it's not worked. Science and technology has brought enormous amount of comfort and convenience to our lives. Things that we could not imagine just 25 years ago are just a living reality today, isn't it? But are we any more joyful? No. And all these comforts and conveniences have not come easy, they've come at a tremendous cost to every other life on this planet. Yes? Every creature, from plant to animal to everything, including human beings, have paid an enormous price to create these comforts and conveniences, and we are not even happy. What is the point? We are literally making a bonfire of this planet. If you are ecstatic, it's okay, burn the planet, it's all right. We are not even happy. I think it's time to really look at it, isn't it? Why are we burning it up if we are not even happy? Now the problem is you're in pursuit of happiness. It is enshrined in your constitution also here, in pursuit of happiness. What does pursuit of happiness mean? That you want to do so many things to be happy. Yes? Yes, that's what it means. That you must have the freedom to do many things to be happy. See, whenever happiness happened to you, whenever you are happy, it doesn't matter where the stimulus was. Where did you become happy, inside or outside? Inside. Yes? Did you ever experience happiness out here? No. Such a thing has not happened, because the seat of human experience is within you, not outside of you. People are talking about inner happiness, outer happiness. There is no such thing. Happiness and every human experience has always been internal, never been external, isn't it? So happiness is internal, but the starter button is outside in the world, somewhere else, in somebody else's hands. Now, some amount of inner handling is needed, which has not been done. When I say inner, I am not talking about your body or your mind, because your body and your mind comes from outside. See, when you were a child, your body was so small, now it became this big. How? How? The food that you ate, isn't it? So what you call as my body actually is a heap of food. Yes? Not a pleasant way to describe you at all. This is actually a heap of food or a piece of this planet, isn't it? Yes? This is just a piece of the planet. Right now you gathered it this way and made it this way. See, all these countless number of people who existed on this planet before you and me, where are they? All topsoil, isn't it? This will also become topsoil, unless somebody buries you real deep fearing that you may rise from the dead. So this body is something that you accumulated from outside, yes? What you call as my mind is a huge heap of impressions that you gathered from outside, is it so? All the content of your mind is a huge heap of impressions. So between these two, this huge heap of impressions and this heap of… I won't call this huge, this heap of food that you gathered from outside, if you have to gather so much, there must be something more to gather this, isn't it? Yes? But your experience of life is limited to just this, your body, your mind and your emotion. When I say mind and emotion, they are not really different. What you call as my emotion is just the juicier part of the thought. Thought is dry and straight. Emotion is little juicy. Without that, you would feel too dry and thirsty. So because to quench that thirst, you make a certain part of your thought emotion. The way you think is the way you feel, isn't it so? Yes? Right now you think this is a wonderful person, you have sweet emotions towards that person. Right now you think somebody else is a horrible person, you have ugly emotions towards that person. You cannot think he's a horrible person and have sweet emotions towards that person, isn't it? You cannot think this is a wonderful person and have ugly emotions towards this person. The way you think is the way you feel. So why has it gone wrong? This is simply because without understanding the nature of this body, without understanding the nature of this mind, without understanding the nature of how this one exists within itself, we are just trying to live by accident. We're just hoping everything will be okay. They have been telling you for thousands of years, don't worry, God will take care of you, everything will be okay, everything will be okay. Look at the world and tell me what people are going through. Your life within, how joyful you are, how peaceful you are, happens to you only to the extent you understand and only to the extent you handle it. To what extent you're capable of handling it, only to that extent, only to that depth you will know life. Otherwise you will not know anything beyond that. For example, the mind, how we are handling it. Let's look at this. See, the nature of the mind is anything and everything your five senses come in touch with, your mind collects. Most of the impressions that you have gathered in your mind are unconscious. Every waking moment and every sleeping moment of your life, whatever comes in touch with the five sense perceptions is recorded. Every sound, every smell, every touch, every sight that you have gathered is all there in your mind. Some of them you are able to pull back and use, much of it you are not able to pull back. But it is functioning, it is creating impacts on you in so many different ways, all these impressions. So this mass of impressions that come in, you have no discretion about what to take in and what not to take in. Whoever comes your way will stuff something into your head and go, you can't stop it. If you say, I do not like this person, you cannot stop input from that person. Actually, you will take in more from that person than anybody else, isn't it? So your mind, in one way, is just society's garbage bin. Yes. You can take garbage bin, whatever the content of the garbage bin, you can take it and make it wonderful manure for yourself. Or you can live in the garbage bin and struggle eternally. This is the choice that you have. So what you receive, there is no choice about it. Everything that you come in touch with goes inside. But you have the discretionary power to what to use and what not to use, isn't it? That is there. But that discretion has been lost in a lot of human beings, that's why they become compulsive human beings. Just see how much of your life is compulsive, how much of your life is conscious. Please look at this. Carefully observe yourself and see how much of you is happening consciously, how much of you is happening compulsively. You will see a large part of you is happening compulsively. When you're happening compulsively, you will not happen the way you want yourself, isn't it? See, there's only one problem with your life. Life is not happening the way you think it should happen. That's the only problem. Is there any other problem? Is there any other problem? This is the only problem, isn't it? Life is not happening the way you think it should happen. In the same breath, you claim you believe in God. If you believe in God, if it is not happening your way, it must be happening His way. You must be even more happy it's happening your God's way. But that's not the reality. So, world is not happening your way, it's okay. But now the problem is you are not happening your way. This is the problem, isn't it? Yes? Nobody in the world is happening your way, please see. Nobody around you will happen 100% your way, isn't it so? Yes? Nobody happens your way, it's okay. But this one person must happen your way. If this one person doesn't happen your way, you will become a tragedy. That's the tragedy of humanity. The world is not happening your way, that is not the problem. You are not happening your way, that's the problem, isn't it? So if things happen to happen your way, you have begun to understand in the world that you have to engineer it so that it happens your way. Now if you engineer your car properly, if you turn it here, you want it to go here, it goes right there. if it's a good car. Otherwise you do it here, it goes and turns there. You know, there were cars like that before. Yes? Do you know in 50s and 60s, the American cars, if you want to turn them there, you have to turn them here? Not anymore, isn't it? Because better engineering. The same with you. No inner engineering has been done for you, isn't it? Just by accident you're trying to happen. So what you gather is not the problem. Your ability to use what you want is the question, isn't it? Isn't it good all the shit in the world you've gathered in your head? It's best you collect it. Because if you don't know, you will walk into it every day. If you know all this, you can see that you don't walk into those things, isn't it? Yes? See, being free of something and being ignorant of something is very different. Yes? You're ignorant of the ways of the world, you will bump into it today or tomorrow. You know all the crooked ways of the world, but you don't give in to that. You're consciously not there in it. That's a different thing, isn't it? So suffering is not conscious. If you're suffering in some way, that means that part of you has become unconscious, isn't it so? Nobody consciously creates suffering for himself, does he? Does he? If different levels of suffering are happening, that simply means different levels of unconsciousness exist within you, isn't it? What is conscious within you, that part of you, you will keep it the way you want it. Is it so? Is it so? Whatever is conscious within you, those parts of you, you will keep it the way you want it. Whatever is unconscious, those parts you are not able to keep it the way you want it. So all that you have to do with your life is make more and more of you conscious. If you strive to make this whole thing absolutely conscious, this will be 100% the way you want it. This one piece of life will happen exactly the way you want it. When that happens, I have absolute confidence in you that you will make yourself into an absolutely blissful human being. There's no question about that.